I just don't remember. Well, welcome to the live broadcast of your Advanced Administrator Certificate. I'm going to open it up. I'm just going to open up for a second and see how we fare. And that's a level. That's more level, right? We got to. Yeah, I did. I worked through the path. To end it now because I got another meeting and I got to take a break and I got to go eat dinner and then we're going to go through. And you do that for each of the stages. What is the data I need, right? All of that's useful stuff. Yeah, I think we completed it. Yeah, we totally completed that. So that's all of the learning objectives and working opportunities. Because this was a short day, because I taught an earlier class and I got other stuff to do, we're going to pretty much wrap up this live session. But I think it took a while to wrap it up. Right? So, all right. Well, look, we're in products, quotes, and contracts. So we'll jump into that and then we'll just go on from there. So we've got add my little notes to it. And then we'll talk about territory management. Second, so hi, Patrick. Hi, Chen. How are you guys doing today? What's happening?
Doing great.
Awesome.
We're both doing great.
All right. So let's look and see a couple things here. And we'll put that in there. So to explain how products and price books work together. So here, remember, so this is a study guide technique, right? So write down everything when you see the learning objectives, you can write down everything you know. What I know about products is products are a list of the things you sell, whether they are actual products or services. Price books are the prices you will sell each product or service. So here's the thing, like, so you have like examples are, you know, you got maybe you have a wholesale, here's some examples, wholesale resale, wholesale retail, and then for each, and then you'd have one, you could have a wholesale and a retail pricing for the same product. And you also have to have a price book for each currency for the same, for those products. So for each active currency. And so the products and price books, so that's really what you got to know, right? So, and they're added to opportunities. This is a challenge. So I'm going to go to the challenge and I'm going to launch my Brave Moose so we can take a look at it. But so, you know, inside of an opportunity, you're having a conversation with a customer, a potential customer, potential, whoever you're having about selling something. In order to be very specific about what you're selling, you have to identify the products and services you sell, the quantity, and the, you know, if there's, and there's more that we won't get into with this, but there are also, you know, things you can, you know, whatever, what a lot of people call them SKUs of each individual items. So you have a list of product records. Now, because you don't sell the same product to everybody at the same price, unless you're like a B2C, but even then, you still might sell it to a retailer, or, you know, you might sell to a channel, or you might just have some other pricing structure that you have, member price versus a non-member price. You can give each product a name, a code, a description, and whether or not that product is still active in your inventory of products and services. So, it's really the nature of all the sales, right? There's something you're selling and a price you're selling it at. And a way to get clarity in Salesforce is that when you're looking at an opportunity, some water here. When you're reviewing one of your opportunities, I think I even added some prices to this one yesterday. I'm not sure. Some products to it. Yeah, I did. So the amount of the opportunity without products is a free form field. You could change the amount however you want. But as you change the products along with the price book, if I'm selling 2 generators at 100 grand each and 7 at 25,000 each, that's going to calculate for me the amount for my opportunity. And I can no longer edit that amount manually. Why? Because it's now controlled by the products that I've selected. So if I change the products, if I say they're only going to buy, one of those $100,000 generators, that's going to automatically change the amount of my opportunity, right? Because that's what it is. So now a couple things about it is when you, why is it doing that? Here we go. So you can add products, edit product, price books, sort products. So if I want to add another product, because I already have products on there and I only have one price book, you add the price book first, then you're adding those products at that price. Then you just add, let's say I also decide that they want instead they want a couple of 10 kilowatts. And the next thing I need to do is say, all right, well, they want, 10 of those. And, you can add a date when they're expected to be delivered, or, what they're looking for that for October 28th. And there's some other features you can activate where, if you're having one conversation for a big order, not everybody purchases, writes a check the day you close the deal. Sometimes they want certain products on a schedule by the number of products. You want 100 widgets per month, or you want to spend $100 per month, and that'll buy you whatever number of widgets that thing is. And of course, you can add that there in the basic characteristics of a product record. The price book's going to calculate the products based on the price book you selected, and you can't mix price books. So you can't mix wholesale and retail products on the same opportunity. So an opportunity like a currency also has a single price book that you're selling. That's why you pick the currency when you have multi-currencies, and you pick the price book before you add products. Simple. And we could do another one. Let's see if I've got another opportunity that doesn't have products on it. So here's one without product. We've already won that one, right? So this is kind of a products and price books could be an evolution, right? Until you understand your own products and offerings. But the first thing you would do is create the products, and then you can add those products to a price book and adjust the prices for each product. So maybe you sell some things only wholesale. Well, you don't need to include those products in your entire list of products, right? So it's like think of it almost like a filter per price book, but you're selecting them manually. We'll go through that in a second. Let's see. So you can have multiple prices for the same product. That's really the net get of this module, is that you can have a product. You sell this product of mint snuff, and you might sell them in different prices, different categories, But you might have wholesale, retail, a euro price of them, so that Salesforce can do the calculations for each opportunity. So you create a price book, and when you create that price book, you give it a name, and then you decide, then you add the products to that price book. And you can also add the list price if it's different for that price book. And how a rep sells those products is like I demonstrated. You go to an opportunity, and when you go to add, do that again. If I go to add products, now because I only have one price book, it's an easy selection. But if I had more than one price book, I'd have to select the price book first. And if we want to go look through, so we could actually create a price book here. Price books. I've got a standard price book. If I wanted to create another price book, now I called it a wholesale, make it active for and then I can click and create even another. I create multiple price books. I don't need a new one. Let's go back to my price books. Here's my wholesale price book. And in order for me to make sense of it, I need to add price book. I need to add products to the price book. So which of my products will I sell wholesale? So I've got the list of products. And this is the list price from the standard price book. I'm gonna pick the big ones. Right? This could be anything. It could be your SL, your service contracts. I'm going to save it. Now I can go add my list prices. So here, I might say instead of 100,000, that's 72.5. Instead of 150,000, that's 122,500. Instead of 35,000, it's 27,357, 457. 75,000, right? So you get the gist of it. So I'm just changing the prices. 62,457. Whoops. At 15,000. 9,200, 9,299, 20,000. I'm making all of this up. Instead of 50,000, it's 37,658, and boom. So now if I pick the same products on an opportunity, I've got different prices because it's a different price book. So if I was selling it to this Burlington and sell to a price, then when I add the price is, let me see if it's going to force me to, yeah. So now I got to decide, am I doing standard? Am I doing my wholesale price book? In this case, I'm going to do wholesale, and I'm just going to add, now I can add the products. It's because I add them at that relatively, it's just a different price. So I want 1, 2, 3, whatever products they buy. Again, same 2, 1, 4. And I can add dates. I don't need to, all of that. So now I've got a very clear understanding. Put it back in this one, right? I've got now my amount is dictated by price, product, price, and quantity. And why that's important to understand is, let's see where we've already completed this challenge. So we just did that. I'm not doing it again. A couple little help resources in here, but I think that's pretty. Any questions about that? Pretty self-explanatory, right? And I think most companies would do well. Like I know a lot of companies that don't even use products and price books, but to me, now it has been said that the product, this is great when you've got 30 products, but when you've got 30,000 products, it becomes a little gnarly when you're adding products to Salesforce in order to filter that list. But you could filter by codes and by product family. So there's a way to add a product family to products. But I got to tell you, that's not a very robust search engine, right? It's not a very robust filtering system. And so what's happened is Salesforce has never really invested a lot of innovation because so many App Exchange partners have already built robust product tools for Salesforce in the App Exchange. And it's one of those things where, well, Salesforce they don't have to invest now, because what they did to invest is they created Click Price Quote, which uses the products you pick, the quantities, the revenue, the size, whatever. You have all kind of pricing rules that you can create that sort of help you guide yourself to get the most profitable product mix for your sales and market, for your sales. So, so in the product challenge, you'll just do that. You'll create a price book, and you'll call it Northwest Generator Sales, and you'll add 3 products at those particular prices, just like I demonstrated. I'm not going to go through it here. You can do that if you have any trouble. Write a question to superuseracademy.com/live-QA call, and I'll try to answer it. Now, configuring quotes is the next step. And when you take those products, is so you can create quotes that take the product mix and generate a pre-formatted document that you could send to a customer as a quote, or like say some people might call that an estimate. So a customer can say, yeah, I want that. And then when you close the deal, it'll even take that estimate and turn it into a contract, right? We're going to get to that later. But here's the thing. You don't have to, so you might be, when you're coming up with quotes, you might have a Goldilocks strategy, right? A little quote, a really big quote, and then some quote in between. So you might have good, better, best quotes, or A plus or B, or A plus. You might, what is the quoting strategy that a friend of mine said for pricing when he's offering something like, so I remember on the Delta Sky magazine, there was always an advertisement for executive book summaries. And if you wanted the digital only subscription, it was $79. If you wanted the print description, the print publication, it was $119. But if you wanted digital and print, This was early days before everything was digital. It was $119. So think about that. $79 for just digital, $119 for just print, but both was $119. So what did they want you to choose? They were training people to go digital with the desire that people had to have, as Nana would say, pictures they could hold, books they could hold. They would throw the digital in for free with just all they had to do is select it. It was a better deal. Maybe they could have made up for $129, right? It's so much better. You get digital and all the print. They figured it would be there, right? So you might have more than one quote. And so there's a dynamic that occurs in Salesforce. So let's go enable quotes first, because we don't have quotes yet. So we'll go in and enable quotes. And once you enable quotes, I think that actually activates, we're just going to enable quotes. It's all under the sales tab. Because you can have more than one quote, which means you use your opportunity and the products and price books in combination to configure different product quantity, delivery, all those different variables as a mix. You can create more than one quote that's all attached to the opportunity. So let's look at quote settings. And I'm just going to enable quotes. And then I need to, once I enable it, let's go. I need to say that's going to create a related list. So I'm going to add it to all of my related, I'm going to add it to all the page layouts. And I'm going to overwrite a user's personal settings. Why? Because if they know how to change their settings, they can fix it. If they don't. So now, one of the things I'll now have on my opportunity related list are quotes. And the way you create a quote is really easy. You just fill out the opportunity first with the products and quantities for a particular price book. You can't change price books per opportunity. And then if I reconfigure, here's what I'll do, right? So now that I got quotes, I could take that quote and select a new quote. I might say initial standard order. Maybe that's what I'll call this one, right? And you could, like any estimate, you could give it an expiration date. So you could, like, so this quote is good until my birthday. It's got statuses, because maybe before you could send it to your customer, you might add a contact of who you're going to send it to. Who do we have at Burlington? I don't know. I got Jack Rogers. I'm going to send it to Jack. I probably don't need to add that information there because I got Jack, I got their address, and I'll click save, right? So there's lots of different, you're writing up a quote. If tax is 7%, shipping and handling is 5,000, whatever it happens to be, then, right, I'm just filling in the information that's going to be used to source the template that's going to send the quote. So let me look at the quote now. It's going to reflect the same amount of money and same products as it is on the opportunity. But notice the quote record's a little different. I can add contacts. I can add the same quote. If it's a standard initial order, then I could add that to a new opportunity, or add it to, maybe it's part of a case that's going to happen. It's part of something I need to do. But right now it's in draft. You might have an approval process for that, depending on, like anything else. And you could add it to a lead or create a lead. You could edit it, you could delete it. And here's the thing, creating a PDF and emailing the quote are that's kind of the beautiful things, right, of a quote. So if I click create PDF, it's going to do that. It's going to give me through a template, which we haven't touched yet. This is just a default template. No, no low. I mean, I've not made it pretty. It gives me all the basic information, right? The date I created it, the date it expires, which quote number this is, who my contact is, who I'm emailing it from. See, it already sucked. It didn't pull in Jack's contact info already, but it does give me the product, the price, the quantity, and the totals that make up my opportunity. And of course, a customer could sign it. You could email it to them, and right, you could email it to them, and then I'm just going to save an email to myself so you can see what it looks like. So when you do that, it saves the doc as a PDF. And I'm going to take his email out and just put mine. And I'm going to send it from, well, I'm going to send it from that one. So I'm not going to BCC myself and get 3. Here. Hi, Jack. And you might have a template, right? It's related to that quote. I can, as soon as I'm done, I could send it to them. And Salesforce never sends attachments. They always send links to the attachment. And here's why that's good news. No worries. Thank you. Here's why that's good news. Let me get to my email. There we go. So here's my quote. It's coming. And so here's what's really, this is how it worked in so look safe, although it does look like spam because of that ugly message. They can open up, right? It's already got a version number, V1. It's got it. If they open it all the way, they can open up with Google. They could, depending on how you make this, you can even make it so that they can, there you go. So, right. So they got the quote, and then it stored the PDF version of that quote. So if you made changes, it might say that's been presented. So you're tracking the quote equally, right? So you might even, I'm not going to go too far down, but it will be tied to the opportunity. Now here's how now let's check this out. Let's say I want to edit my products. Let's say he comes back and he says, hey, we decided we only need one of the big ones, but we need 8 of the little ones, right? So now I've edited the products, and if I create a new quote, right? I'm creating a new quote. I'm not adjusting the original quote. I'm creating another one. Why? Because this is adjusted. And that's where that little button syncing comes in, right? So which quote, or another way to say it is, which product mix which product and quantity mix in your price book is going to calculate the amount of the opportunity, right? So I'm going to leave this in, put in approved, description, shipping and tax is 7%, shipping and handling is 5K, contact is still Jack Rogers. I got his information. I'd save. Now, here's the thing. So how much was that quote for? The second quote, number 2, was for 400,000. But my opportunity still says, well, my opportunity now says 400,000. But if I choose which quote, if that was an idea, but if I choose a different quote, now that I have 2, 382 versus 4, whatever it is, I could choose which one to sync. What does that mean? Which one do I want to update my opportunity? So it updates the opportunity with one of many quotes. So now I've got an opportunity worth 377. I've got 2 quotes. One's worth 412 and the other's worth 377. And if I want to, the customer says, 419, right? Yeah, I want to take a look at that one. Well, just like the other one, I could take that one and email that quote to the customer. Or, maybe I want to do both. So I got to download it to my computer and I could save that to the quote. And now I have a version, the PDF version of it. Let's say on this quote, the one that's worth 419, he goes, oh yeah, you know what? We need, you gave me 2 of the middle one. I only wanted 1 of the big one, but I still want 2 of the big ones and 8 of the little ones. So I could just edit my products and say, well, I want 2 of these instead. Right? And I've got historical, I'll create the PDF. I've got a little bit of historical record keeping. That is to say, hey, version 1 was 419, version 2 was 492. So in case you wanted to go back to version 1, you still have a copy of it, right? You don't lose your history of what you quoted, of what actually occurred in the conversations. You might never have even presented, right, the V1. How do I know? Because in V1, I haven't presented either one yet. So now I have to decide if I want to, right? There's my attachments. They're my quote PDFs. Let me present these. I'm going to send it by email. And I'm going to shoot that back to me. And boom, boom, it'll come back to me. Now here's the better part of this deal. So I've got, right, I could see what I've done. I could see which quote that I sent them, right? When I go into that, I could see I updated the quote. And if I want to take a look at that email, I can say, oh, I sent them V2. I didn't send them V1 of quote 2. The adjusted initial order, I sent them V2, not V1. Clarity in everything you do when it comes to your sales conversation, because all of these things happen. Instead of digging through an inbox and trying to figure out, oh, which, let me go back and look at my sent folders and filter for Jack and see which one, and then open up each piece. Come on, man. It's right here. I see that I created one for 419, but I adjusted it before I sent it to him because I had a conversation. And maybe I would have that conversation in there that said, call pre-quote send call. So before I even send that thing out, there it is. I told myself all of those things so that I don't have to remember it anymore. I could tell the story of what happened with me and Jack in the quotes. But my opportunity is still 377, not 492. Why? Because I'm going with the initial setup order until I know better. But I've now got 3 different amounts that I can track against one opportunity, and only one of those amounts is going to inform my forecast, which is totally appropriate. That's the one I think is going to be, and then when I start getting the proposal, right, now is when we start talking about, we're looking at the quotes and we're deciding which one works. And we could say, you know what? I like it. Let's go with that adjusted order, but let's go with the cheaper version. All right, well, that might be a little tough, but I could see which there's only one of all the quotes I've got. Only one of those quotes can sync to the opportunity. That is to inform the opportunity of its amount and product quantity mix. So that's about to go. Now, what we didn't do is create a quote template. Right. So in the setup, if we type in sales, and now that I've activated quotes, I can have quote templates, which is where let's see, what do I need? Do the quote template. I should have done it first. Where's my quote template? There's my standard template. I can create a new one. And, I can add whatever fields from the quote, account, opportunity, contact, right? So here it didn't put Jack's, it put the phone number from the quote object, but I don't want that. Why would I do that? I would take that and go, you know what? I would rather have it come, because it could change for Jack, right? So I might want to pull that in from the contact and have their contact. I want their email and phone. And from the account, I might want the account's fax number.
Hey guys.
So, hey, hi, welcome. We're just doing quote templates.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, so I now, when I save my, whoops, I did a quick save. What? Is that right? Yeah, create a new one. So, see what I'm missing. Let me make sure I activate that one. Oh, why did I go to classic? Because that just sucked. Okay, here we go. So now that's active. And so when I go back to my opportunity, did we lose? Setting up Mike. Oh, yeah, no worries. And if I want to pull out the quote again, and I want to create a PDF, I could choose which template now I'm going to use. So now my template looks a little different. It should have, there it is. There's his email, there's his phone, there's the company fax, all in there. I didn't put the ship to information because, I didn't. And there you go. So once I save that quote to the quote, saving a PDF of that quote, it's going to be stored as one of my versions of that quote. And do I have, nope. Okay. So I think I would probably want to see the template it was made from, but it's all good. So now you have these quote records, right? And that's what they're talking about. So if you create the quote template, you can adjust it to merge in the fields that make a difference. You can, I believe that you can, or it might make it kind of hard. I don't know if you can add, let's see. You might be able to add image files in here, but I think those image files have to be stored in a field. I don't know, I'm not sure. But it's not that pretty. And the reason is Salesforce has never put, I mean, this is how it works, but, and it works, but there are way more, there are other products and stuff that actually give you more. Now we can take that quote, whichever product mix they picked, right? Whatever they decide is right in their budget, right? What they need, meets their needs. You can take one of those, sync it to the opportunity. When you win the opportunity, you can actually now use that same information and create a you could create a contract from it. So again, it's letting your sales reps create, track, and manage contracts as well. So when they decide to buy it, you can send a contract and get them to sign it. So let's see. Let's go to the object manager. Oops. Let's say object manager. No, and we're going to do contract. No, we're at the opportunity object. And then clicks contract in the fields area. So let's go opportunity object in the fields area. Huh. That is a weird way to write it. Fields menu. I'm going to set field level security. And we're going to make that lookup field available. All profiles or just, oops, contract, oops, contract manager. Ought to be the sales profile. Doesn't say that, but it ought to be. But we're going to do standard user and system admin. We're controlling who can even see that field. And of course, we can edit it. we need to. View field accessibility. Let's see what that is. Contract. So for the contract manager, we click on hidden. And we need to make sure that that's visible. And on the opportunity layout, we need to make sure it's visible as well. And we'll click save. We go here. Contract. So now we're gonna do the same thing for our standard. Oh yeah, it's on editable. It changed all three. Don't really remember why, but okay. All right, so the way to test it in the org, look, I have it open in two screens. Let's see. We'll create a whole new opportunity. Maybe. Let's see how this exercise goes. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. Because I'm a trooper. Click a new opportunity. This is for. So we'll do close date, October 13th, opportunity name. Type. Now here's our contract. Yeah. I don't have contracts yet, buddy. Oh. I don't think we have any contracts right now. We just enabled them. Well, we just have. So let's see. Click save. But we don't have any contracts. So I see the contract number. Did we create a contract earlier in the expression that I missed? No, it's just a little gap.
You got
So-
the field there, the lookup, so,
What's that? Yeah, there's nothing there, right?
yeah,
So-
there's nothing, just nothing in it, but it's there.
No, right. There are no contracts. And so because of that, it didn't pull anything in because there's no contracts. So let's create a new contract just for fun. Actually, here's what we'll do. forget that. If it's a dumb example, I'm gonna leave behind. Oh, this, the, contracts, new. I'm gonna do it a little differently. I'm gonna say close one. He said yes. They bought 3377 one. If I picked the wrong quote, I think do that one. I'm gonna edit that way. Sync it, yeah. Sync. I could choose sync that one. Can I? Maybe not. Maybe not
Want
that
to
it's
make it
close.
your active quote, right? You only get to sync one quote, I
Right,
think.
you only get to sync one, but I didn't know if
And then that pulls into the opportunity, if I'm
yeah.
not
Yeah,
mistaken, as the total.
Right.
And
No,
then
no, but
normally you
can't-
would create the contract from there, from the opportunity, you would click new on
right,
contract.
right. No, correct. You just can't close win it and then change the contract. You
Right.
can't change the quote afterwards. That's what I was doing, and I did it wrong. So now I've got this one that I could sync. Quote, interesting is already sync this opportunity. Yeah. All right, there we go. I don't know if I checked, accepted. And now I go back to my opportunity. And the big one is the contract here. Can't remember if I can create a contract. It's been a while since I did it. So I'm going to follow their instructions real quick and just do another contract. This is why Salesforce has CPQ. So contract start date, it might be August. Burlington. Contract term. 24 months. You set all this stuff up, right? Signed by, there's my Burlington guy, Jack. Owner expiration notice. Title. Head dude in charge. All right, so then you have the maybe me, the date that the customer signed, date that I signed. Oh, probably can't do that. I'll just do it all the same day. So now I got a contract. And
Now you would create the contract before you would mark a quote closed one, right? Because they're, or no? I'm trying to
so create
like
the
order
contract.
events here.
Well, it
You
really
have your
depends on the
quote.
process. Yes, typically that's part of the negotiation process. And then when you get the signed contract, but you might have different levels of closed. They might have given you a verbal and then you follow up with a process to send contracts. Depends on, it all
But the
depends on,
contract would exist before you close win it, right?
it depends on how you want to count it.
Okay.
And it's all part of your sales administration and
It's not a
operation.
right and wrong way then, as Salesforce is gonna ask us.
This one's going to allow you to do it any way that you think matches your business processes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know.
So it's now, it's not on my opportunity. and it's, which really it shouldn't be, right? The contract has the opportunity has the quote, but the account is signing the contract, right? So we need to add the contracts related list to this page, which we can do by editing the page layout. And now you might say, why are you here? You got to be on the page layout to add a related list. Well, that used to be true, I think. Is it now? I haven't done the trail, but I know it's coming. What I do is I just go, it's really easy to scroll down, and then you could choose which page layout you want to add it to. But it is coming where you can do that in Lightning. And I know I think it might even be the same release, but I don't know it off the top of my head, so I'm not gonna do it. But right, so the account signs the contract. You can also add that to the opportunity, but we're gonna add the related list. We're gonna add the contracts related list. Do a quick save. And from here, remember, you can also change all of your to other page layouts. Marketing probably doesn't need to see contracts. Let's leave that alone. Sales definitely need to see contracts. So I'm just going with what's there, pretending that's real. I mean, I can't say for sure marketing doesn't want to see it, but I could say that in my mind, I've decided that's the way it is. Support definitely needs the contracts. Really, they all do, in my opinion, but it's not my decision. And because a single contract would be related to, once this is done, because a single contract would be related to a sales conversation, that opportunity, now that we have those contracts in there, where is, huh. I love when Lightning pages take a long time to render for a variety of reasons. It doesn't matter. So now I've added that contract to the related list. I believe there it is. There's my contract. And at this point, it might be part of, maybe it's closed one on the opportunity, maybe it's not. You just, it's all in how you want to manage it at this point. But in that opportunity, I can also, because we have a one-to-one relationship with, there's my contract. I'm not going to have multiple contracts on a single opportunity. Each contract would be a result of a single sales conversation. So that's why you're relating it to one opportunity. Now, right? So it's got the parents. When I go to the contract, I'll see all the opportunities related to it, but also on my account, I've got it. So I'm gonna put a couple of little things of help in here. So there we did all of that. So quotes, quote templates, and contracts are all part of the help docs that are for this. And then all you need to do to complete this trail, if you're still working on it, is take the challenge. And here's what the challenge says. So in the make sure that there's an in review status on your quote object. Then we're going to create a quote for all of these details and put the status in review, and you'll get all your points. So that is configuring quotes and converting that quote to a contract. And that's the whole module. Any questions or comments for you guys that are live? Let me check my live channel here for a second. See if anybody's. Is anybody out there? Where's Raul? He's normally popping in about this time. So that's the configure quotes, products, quotes, and contracts. Does anybody have any questions about the relationship between the products, quotes, and the contract? Remember, you're having a conversation for a sale. If you sell products and services, you could just add the products. What we don't show you is, here's what we don't show you in this module, is you can, where you add products on the front end. You can add products. If you have a list of 30,000 products, you could absolutely upload those. So if I got a product called training for initial if I make that active, I give that a product code, GW00100TR. And you could give that a part of a product family. You got to create the product families. Whether the products, what's the default currency of the product, and maybe a description of the product. You might have bespoke product code is GW right, but the product family price book, it is with a lot of products, you're going to want to look, in reality, you're going to want to look for some app exchange product to manage it. But again, it's all linked together from the sales portion, right? You're adding clarity to the sales. So in an opportunity, when I say I closed one, how do you answer that question? What did you close? Whatever the name says, that's free form text. And I don't care who you are, that's not going to help you manage your business. You're not going to know where your profit, loss, value, and all the other things that come around with it, right? So you're trying to create a string of pieces of data that form stories, like layers of flavor in a recipe. So what products did I sell? Well, I sold 487 of these 3 products in these quantities at these prices. And the process I went through was all of these different quotes. I did 2 quotes, and one of those quotes had 2 versions. If I really got into it, really depending, as you're working it, so that you start to really understand the steps people are taking to get to where they're going, the trails that they leave behind, the sales trail, not a snail trail, right? And that quote informed the contract, right? So if I want to look, oh, did we sign a contract? Yeah. So the quote had the certain products on it, and these products, and the contract should be the same. Contract and all of its line items should reflect the same thing that we talked about in the sales conversation, right? And then here's my contract history. Let's look and see the contract itself. Right now it's a draft contract. You can activate the contract. The credit card went through. Let's look at the printable view. You could see the history of the contract. And again, it's how the data flows. Where does it go to the next user in your org that's got to do their job on it? So here's my contract. Close that page. Now I don't see terms of the contract. I have to go back to the opportunity to see what was in the contract. So that might be a contract template issue or item that you could put in there. I'm not really sure. Not a real robust, but you kind of get the idea of what it's for. When you get real robust with this topic, you're going to end up doing CPQ or something. Whoops, something very similar to CPQ, because that's what CPQ does. CPQ gives you more details and then more contracts, and then again the idea, like at Salesforce, you might say, well, that's not very sophisticated. Well, it is and it isn't. There's a lot of work you got to put into making it more sophisticated. What a lot of companies do is they end up going to the App Exchange for more advanced apps that are already built for the sophistication instead of trying to build out a lot of the stuff on your own. That's where Conga Sign and products like that really pop into play in order to really make it robust. So I'm glad in one way that in the advanced admin, they don't really go deep down the tunnel. In sales, they talk a little bit more about it. When we do the sales consultant class after this one, there'll probably be different modules. I know there'll be different modules that'll get a little more deeper into contracts. And that might even, if the solution doesn't look robust, it's probably because it's not. And Salesforce never invested in making it robust, given how much time and effort it would take for them to replicate what other companies do in the App Exchange. What they did instead was they just bought a company called SteelBrick, and now it's called Salesforce CPQ. Salesforce Maps was from a company called Map Anything, based out of Charlotte. They leveraged the Geo and the Salesforce and everything to make mapping really useful. Now Salesforce adopted it. They bought them. That's what Salesforce does. So the standard products, the standard features and functionality in Salesforce aren't like, that's not really sexy, exciting, functional, really user-friendly. Yeah, it's probably something on the App Exchange. Because at the time when Salesforce was just trying to, compete for customers, their technology, their customers drove innovation, and that's where the App Exchange came from. So never forget the App Exchange. Any question about the cloud opportunities of the cloud so far? So we're gonna, this is me, we've got, I don't know why it does that. I hate when it does that. This Google Doc does weird stuff to highlight. We've got about a half hour today left for the class. So we're going to go through, we don't have to go exactly in this order. How is that? Lightning knowledge, setup, and customization. Oh, interesting. I just did a CRT 261 class yesterday, and that class is about the Service Cloud and setting up knowledge. Jen, how are you doing in your company of being knowledge able?
I haven't really touched it since I set up the internal support articles. So I really haven't had time to play with it with all the other stuff coming up in our systems, but
gotcha. All right, just checking.
Yeah, I still build the
So-
articles though. I take like our great training information and copy it in sometimes and
Is that,
help. them.
is the training docs helpful for that? Because I was hoping they would
They
be,
do.
but
They help
I never
me.
got any process docs to do
Yeah.
it.
They do help me.
That's who I cared about. All right, so, but I did interview a company today that has an interesting tool that would have made your life and still might make your life easier as it relates to data migration automation. And really fascinating company. All right, that's it. That's what I wanted to see. So we're still working on we're not in this one yet. The data analytics and management is worth 13%. And so a couple of things, that little knowledge article, visibility, mark as complete. So here's why I'm hesitant to start. Well, let's just go through the territory management basics. What the hell? We got 10 minutes. Let's just take a quick look at it. Because territory management is that next layer of the security model where you grant access to users to the accounts so that they've got access to it, whatever. So we won't get through it all. Let's just see what they say about territory management basics in this. And then because we're, yeah, I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole because we only got 10 minutes left. So let's see. So define essential enterprise territory management terms. That's good to know. And we might put those terms in there. And let's take a look at that. And then turn on the enterprise territory management feature and define the default access levels, create territory types, models, and territories. Well, that seems like a lot. So we're really talking about how you segment your data and associate it to your users so that they are clear about who they're working with and who they're not, right? That's what territories are for. And with sales territories, you want to keep track of which accounts and opportunities your sales reps are responsible for. And I love how it keeps things fun. You've never worked in a competitive sales environment with territories. You'll always get more complaints from it than not. So most people keep track of their territories in spreadsheets, and it's really not useful, or maps, or a zip code list, or some other kind of external system. Salesforce does it for you. So these are a couple of good things, right, about with territory management. So enterprise territory management that's a good set of notes that I'm going to plop in as a good set of notes to pay attention to, because that all of those terms and terminology and everything they just said is like probably really good things to remember. So that's going to work. And I'm just formatting a document because I'm a nerd. All right. Because things like, can you forecast by territory? You can if you use collaborative forecasts. So there's a couple little notes we'll put in this document. Enterprise territory management gives reps access to accounts based on criteria such as postal code, industry, revenue, or custom field. And Salesforce admins can set up and test territory models. I'm just making that. Before implementing, you can make assignments between territories, accounts, and opportunities. Reports help teams organize for optimal coverage and assess territory effectiveness and gaps. That's a good little section. So this little group of is probably really good to just flat out memorize. And I don't know how this would copy and paste in the document, but let's see how it does. Huh. Not too bad. Let's see what that looks like. I don't think it looks good. Not looking good so far, but we'll see. What it's called, what it does. So you got your territory type, territory type priority. This is probably a better way to look at it. Just because it's not the same format. But a good set of notes. So let's look at what they are. Territory type groups territories according to common denominator, such as core reps versus overlay, or named accounts versus geographic. And every territory you create has a territory type, and you use territory types only to organize and create territories. That's a good little note. They don't appear on the territory model hierarchies. Territory type priority. What does that do? Helps you choose the appropriate territory type for territories you create or edit. You create your own priority scheme. For example, 001 can indicate a territory as the highest priority or the lowest. Make sure your scheme can scale as you add more territory types. Okay. I think that's a good one there. The territory model represents a complete territory management system for your company. Modeling lets you create and preview multiple territory structures and different account and user assignments before you activate the model. That works best. And your Salesforce edition determines the number of territory models you can create in production and sandbox. Well, that's good to know. The territory hierarchy shows a model's territory structure and serves as its main interaction point. You start from the hierarchy to create, edit, and delete territories, run assignment rules for territories, and navigate the territory detail pages for more information. From the hierarchy, you can also assign territories to opportunities, run assignment rules at the model level, and activate or archive the model. Your territory hierarchy in the active territory model also determines the forecast hierarchy for territory forecast. Wow. If I could see why I failed the test. I didn't know, like, that's a lot of things to remember about territories. And then what's this one? The territory model state indicates whether a territory is in the planning stage, active, or archived. You can only have one active territory model at a time, but you can create and maintain multiple models in planning or archive state to use for additional modeling repositories. Territory forecasts are based on your active territory model. Oh, that sounds awesome. All right, I get it.
I just spent a night reading this like 3 weeks ago, and I have to reread it again.
Yeah. So I
It's-
could see
it was a
where-
lot to wrap your head around. I did the whole thing.
Yeah.
All of the,
So we'll come back and we'll start here. If I remember, we'll start back. But we'll start back here. But getting through the terminology, right, is like like you start with that, and then notice now we're going to do it, right? There's a doing phase. Like let's turn it on, and notice what happens, right? So in territory, if I type in territory settings, well, I guess I got to spell it right, right? If I type in territory settings, obviously I'm now getting my finger memory involved, right? So now I got to enable enterprise territory management. So I wouldn't try to remember all that stuff and then go do this. I would just start doing it. So this is the default access levels. What is this doing? This is providing another way to override your OWD. If your OWD was set to public, you could not, I don't believe you could restrict right? But look what we're doing. We're talking about account, opportunity, and case access. All things related back to the account. Now what else is going to happen with those settings? It says they can view, edit, transfer, and delete accounts, but only if they have the button from their profile on the page. So it means not more than their profile lets them do, but that the record access lets them use their profile permissions. Notice opportunities, users can view and edit. So you got to decide what your settings are going to be. We want the most restrictive access levels, then click save. Well, that ain't the screenshot. So what would we say? View accounts, view and edit, view all opportunities. I mean, the most restrictive is not, right? Let's see. I'm going to leave the other settings alone. And we don't have any lead settings. And I'll bet you if we look at our OWD, let me save this first. I'll bet you leads or public read write transfer. See, if we make leads private now, an account and contract private, and I don't know why it just doesn't automatically do it for me. Why didn't it automatically do it? Because I'm a whiny Gen Z, because I was exposed to that for most of my life anyway. Let's see what the territory settings are now. Let me disable it. And then re-enable it under the next. See, we got it. Oh, it's probably not done with the leads and setting up the OWD yet. Why not leads? Let's just see. Anyway, so is it is it all set and done? All right, so I guess that's it. Territory settings. I don't know why the leads aren't in there now. Contacts are in there now. Cases, but I don't know why leads are not there. Why? Maybe leads have to be enabled on it. Territories? I don't know. I don't know, but I am curious. I wonder why it's not there. Who knows? See, they created dissonance in my brain. I see a picture, but I don't see it on the screen. I'm like, why is it different? How can I fix it? I don't know that I need to fix it. We'll see. I don't think it's important, but you know. So let's see. We turned on territory management. We don't see the leads. It's crazy me. Crazy me. Where did that change? Then when we get back to it, we'll talk about the types and all that. So we're going to get our hands in it. But this time you're going to think about it. We're going to create, we're going to call it named accounts. Where's the territory type? It helps you group territories according to a common denominator. Core reps versus overlay or named accounts versus geographic territories. Every territory you create has a territory type. You use territory types only to organize and create territories. They don't appear on territory model hierarchies. Okay, I'll take its word for it, and then we'll see how it works. Any questions, comments, concerns? We'll come back and just start with territories next week. But go through this trails because we've got the why. Types, and we'll start back here, and then we'll get into advanced territory management next week. We'll do both. Let's take a quick look at what that looks like before we head out to our wonderful Thursday night activities, which for me is moving stuff for my brother-in-law. Wow, this is a short one. We could have done this one. Advanced territory management. We're going to optimize performance. Let's put that in the notes. And we will see how that works. So we will learn how to identify ways to improve performance while using territory management. So this is, you know, without it, I'll get a little nervous. These are things I'm not experienced at either, right? So now I'm like, all right, it might take a little bit. So give yourself some time to process it, get it done before we come back to class as a assignment between now and next couple of days. And this is good because explaining how the role hierarchy and territory hierarchy work together, how to show roll-up forecasts for territories, how to sync with an external source of truth, identify best practice for cleaning up data, which is the tool I saw today, by the way, Jen. I think it's going to work really well. It could, once I get a demo of it, I'm going to introduce it to you guys.
Which tool was it?
I can't remember off the top of my head right now. It was a German company. It was like Cone. I'll tell you
I
a
just
second.
started demand tools.
It's Conemis, Conemis. They're a German company. They basically map every database that you can connect to, and then you can decide where the data is duplicated, where it's not connected, where it should be connected, and people can upload lists. You can clean the list, organize the list. You remember everything you had to do manually with spreadsheets and stress in April and
Right.
May of this year? Remember all that
Maybe.
that people were doing?
Yeah, no, other people maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, that was going on, right?
Right. That was definitely going on. Yeah.
And their tool not only does it for migrations, but you could also use it for managing and backing up and maintaining like good data integrity over time. I think it's a fascinating tool, and I had a good time talking to the guy today about it and learning more in the future about it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. So that's what we're going to learn, right? So identify several ways to, let's see, did we get all of the learning? Create territory types, models. We're going to do that next. Identify ways to improve performance. Explain how to reassign child territories efficiently. How to define effective filter criteria for assignment rules. Okay, that's not a bad skill. And determine whether to trigger assignment rules upon account update. All right. All that's good. Okay, any other things from you guys? I want to thank you for showing up. You all have the link to this document. And if you contact me and you are a subscriber to my channel, I will give you access to this document. So, like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends. And you can go to my YouTube channel. Check this out. I just forwarded my URL, salesforcezen.com. Takes you right to the YouTube channel, where you too can subscribe, like, share, comment, and engage with all of our live stuff. And do more of that. So thank you guys for being here. And I will, now that my wife's home, we're going to go and do our other stuff that we're going to do. So thanks for being here. Anybody have anything else? I'm going to sign off.